rise and shine on this Thursday. That's what they say, isn't it, Ryan? Rise and shine. And that's what Ryan and I are just now doing. We're back again on Listen Up, presented by Dempsey's and Sportsland, to talk more UConn Huskies women's basketball. Ryan, it never changes. That's what we're here for, right? And we want to thank the sponsors. We want to thank the subscribers. We want to thank everyone, everyone for all the love and the support. We want to thank the UConn Huskies women's basketball family for providing us the jackets and the hats and and just allowing us to represent their team, with a lot of pride and joy. So a lot of hot topics, Ryan, to put out on the table this season. But there was one hot topic I know that you wanted to discuss, and I know that stood out, a very hot topic. And you said, Phil, we have to take care of this. We have to tell them how it is, like Ryan tells everybody how it is. Yes. I mean, Ryan, it's about Amari DeBerry, and I saw some comments in the past week. Today's Thursday. Maybe it started actually on Monday, hearing rumors about how she should get more playing time. I know that she had some breakout performances last season. Very few, but when she did play, there was a time, if I remember, I was trying to search, maybe you can recall, I think there was one game that she may have led in points. With that said, what do you think as far as Amari DeBerry? Because I caught some highlights before I came on today with you, and she can shoot from mid-range shots very well. She can, she provides depth again for this team. Anybody not on this UConn Huskies women's basketball team, you have to question their basketball ability, right? No, I'm just kidding. But if they're on the roster, we already know that they're talented, right? We already know that. So that's not a question, Ryan. So I can't wait to hear what you had to tell me this morning, because I heard from another analyst, well, with Aubrey Griffin soon heading out the door, with Dorka Juhas soon heading out the door.
Yeah.
And then Olivia Nelson-Adota. They talked about Amari DeBerry learning so much from Nelson-Adota. Well, now she's gone. So they're looking for that number one forward that they can go to. What are you, and again, this gets into the hot topic about, I know we're only 2 games in, but so you can break down Amari DeBerry for me, tell me what you think. And then on the other side, Ryan, I wanted to ask you, they didn't say they did say that DeBerry is not getting enough playing time. Is that actually another way of saying, is Dorka Juhas underperforming so far, even though we're only 2 games in?
Well, Amari is in her sophomore season this year, and last year, like you mentioned, she did have some appearances, played in 16 games as a freshman. And this season so far, through the first 2 games, she's played in 10 minutes against Northeastern on the opener. And then in the win against Texas, she did not enter the game. Amari, of course, 5-star recruit, top 15 in her class. And when she came to Stores, everybody was really excited, expecting really big things. She's a 6'5" forward. She's shown her defensive and offensive skills, but like you kind of mentioned there a little bit, only for a limited amount of time. So seeing her not get any minutes in that game versus Texas, that's just not really a good sign for me. It's as simple as this. I think, Gino, I don't think he really trusts her as much as some of the other players right now, because when UConn is in a close game, like we saw against Texas, and Amari did not enter, that has me a little nervous about her playing time moving forward, because if UConn is in another close game when it comes down to the fourth quarter, last couple of possessions, I really don't think we're going to see Amari in those close games. So for me, it's just, I think she's simply getting outplayed right now by, of course, Ayanna and Aubrey, and obviously Dorka and Aaliyah are obviously the starters for this team, but coming off the bench, I just think Aubrey and Ayanna are playing better and maybe practicing harder than Amari DeBerry is right now. So I just think for her to see more minutes, I think Gino just has to trust her more. Maybe there's some stuff behind the scenes that we're just not seeing. But I just think for Amari, she had a lot of big expectations coming here as a freshman. maybe some people think she didn't get enough opportunities, but she did show flashes there for a little bit. And coming into this season, I know a lot of us were expecting more big things from her and for her to play, get a good amount of minutes off the bench. But so far through these first 2 games and also in the exhibition game, coming off kind of slow off the bench and not getting maybe as many minutes as some people thought. But speaking about Dorka, I don't really think Dorka, what I would say she's underperforming, maybe a little slower than some of us thought, but I think she's playing pretty good, crashing the
Okay.
boards with Aaliyah. I think pairing her and Aaliyah together down there has been tremendous for this UConn Huskies team so far. And of course, like I mentioned, Aubrey and Ayana coming off the bench has been great for UConn. So I think UConn's bigs are playing tremendously so far through these first 2 games.
All right, so the front court is for you is coming together rather very well
Yeah,
because I know a little over a week ago, um, and listen to this. This comes from the UConn blog, and again, I agree with you. Dorka Juhas, as definitely from what I've seen, she's been playing very well. And like we learned from Michaela Daniels, we say it all the time. You don't have to lead in points
that's
every
right.
night to be the star player. Sometimes what you do in basketball games never shows up on the stat sheet later that night when the score becomes a final. And yes, Dorka Juhas, I was very high on this player, Ryan, and you know that early in the off season, and I still am. I think that she has the ability to come around, and when you pair the scoring ability that Dorka Juhas, and a lot of people I don't think hasn't thought about this. You know how Dorka Juhas sometimes took over in games last season, right? Talk about easy fun in her performance. If this keeps up, oh boy. I mean, teams have a big trouble on their hands now because 2 scoring machines like AZ Fudd plus Dorka Juhas. I mean, Ryan, they don't have to, they could pour in 20 each and just think what kind of a problem that serves up for the rest of the opponents remaining on this schedule.
And Lou Lopez as well. She can score in
Yeah.
bunches too
Mhm.
from outside the arc. She's just fit in perfectly here at UConn. But yeah, the offense is definitely there from UConn, but I still think it's their defense that leads to their offense. And talking about not scoring a lot of points, and you wouldn't see necessarily if you look at the box score and you look at Nika Mule, you say, well, she gets, assists, she gets rebounds. She doesn't score a lot of points. If you don't watch the games, you don't really see the impact that Nika Mule really has on the game. So that just describes her perfectly about not scoring a lot of points and still making an impact on the game. But yeah, Dorka, Lou Lopez, and AZ Fudd are definitely, I'd say, the 3 big scorers for this UConn Huskies team. Now, Aaliyah can get some putbacks. She's created steals, getting offensive rebounds, putting it back in. She's, in my opinion, improved her game tremendously from last season. Looks like a totally different player. And I think as well, Ayana coming off the bench, she gets a good amount of points at sometimes through these first 2 games. We saw her score a little bit, but I think it's mostly for defense when Ayana and Aubrey come in. Mostly rely on them for defense, but yeah, for sure. I think it along with AZ, we know she's going to put up points, but Lou Lopez and Dorka Juhas, when they score in bunches alongside AZ, it's going to be tough for other opponents to keep up.
And listen to this. Even before Paige Beckers, this comes from the UConn blog. Even before Paige Beckers went down, Gino Auriemma made it clear that the improved front court play needed to be a priority if UConn wanted to seriously compete for a national championship. He said, quote, "We have to be able to do 2 things better than we did last year. We have to score more and we have to score more in the lane and we have to defend better in the lane." So again, and then you scroll down. This came on November the 7th. So again, just a couple weeks ago, and it was titled about the women's basketball position preview, the front court. All right, in the front court, and that's another idea as far as us on this show. We can break down each position, and the battles for positions in the off season, and then in the years to come, hopefully, right? But then you scroll down. Even more, and it breaks down Amari DeBerry's scouting report. And you're right. It says the good sign, or it wasn't a good sign that DeBerry didn't play until the 4th quarter of the exhibition. So in this case, Ryan, what can you tell our viewers and our subs? I mean, because if they're so concerned, especially with these diehard fans in UConn, what can you tell them? Because I mean, if that's all they're saying, just a broad statement, DeBerry's not getting enough playing time. Okay, well, what Ryan, what do you had to tell him? Because the reason I'm asking you, what's this? What's Gino seeing that he likes so much? All right. There has to be my point is there has to be a reason behind it. Again, not based, I don't think it's based off of what she did her freshman year. I wouldn't like to think that. But again, you can't doubt that this head coach, we already know how long he's been around. So I don't really understand what to make of, because we have heard it several times leading up to this show today since Monday that she's not getting enough playing time. So is all of a sudden head coach doesn't know what's going on? I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that.
No, we're not going to question Coach Gino at all. Certainly not. He definitely knows what he's doing. But like you mentioned there, it started really in that exhibition game when that's when a lot of people's concerns started to go higher, is when Amari didn't enter that game until the fourth quarter. So I think that's when a lot of people started to get a little nervous about her minutes. But I mean, I wish I could sit here and say that Amari is going to get in a rhythm and she's going to start playing better and get more minutes, but I don't think I can confidently say that moving forward. And I just think that's due in a large part due to the depth that we still have at forward here. Despite losing Ice Brady for the season, UConn still has 4 really good forwards and forward/centers down low. And I just think for Amari, unless there is an injury to the backcourt, I just really don't see Amari getting a lot of minutes moving forward unless it's a blowout game and she enters in the fourth quarter. But for a lot of these close games moving down the stretch and as we move through these tougher opponents that UConn has, I really just can't confidently say that Amari is going to get more minutes right now.
We would get into the comment section, a lot of comments to go over. We will actually get into that tomorrow, Friday, when we preview the next game coming up, and that's another big matchup. This team looking for some revenge, if you ask me. And I saw them comments leading up to the last check-in. Phil and Rye tomorrow, right here. Again, the last check-in tomorrow morning, Friday. Ryan, thanks for joining me on this Thursday. Listen up.